These are TikToks that will make you rethink.
So they got a plumber to come in and they broke down some of the wall on one of the main pillars.
Yeah.
And they saw a shoe and a leg.
No.
And what happened is he'd gotten up and he had climbed through some opening, and then I guess
like now he's in the roof.
Yeah, so he got into the roof, and then I guess he made his way down that pillar that way to like hide from the cops, obviously.
Yeah.
And he just got stuck. They said they found him like with one arm above him, and he couldn't get out.
Bro.
The way that the trap works is you have this woman and she's trying to get the antidote from inside the box. And she thinks the easiest way to do this is to stick her hands through these holes right here. But she doesn't realize that there are razor blades that once she puts her arm through, the only way that she can get her arm out is by pulling it down, and it's just cutting into her skin, leaving both of her wrists trapped in the box, bleeding.
I'm back, it's your boy FITTI to the E, and today we're looking at these TikToks together. So grab your water, your popcorn, whatever you want. Just remember to subscribe and like the video so it gets pushed to more people. If you like the chain, check the link down below. 99% of these are free right now, so get you a pair. What are you doing, bro? The like goal for this video is 1,000 likes. Let's get this video to 1K.
Alright, nobody asked for this, but since the third season of the Chucky series just got announced for October, I think it's only right for me to give you guys my official ranking of every Child's Play movie we have ever fucking seen. Not this though. This is just fecal matter. This is just dog shit if I'm being honest with you. But in dead last we got Child's Play 3. Look, I fucked with the military school setting. I thought it was pretty fucking dope, but the movie itself, it's really fucking boring if I'm being honest with you. Next up we got Seed of Chucky. Now I really do personally enjoy this movie. It's one of my guilty pleasures, but come on, even I know out of all the Chucky movies, this isn't even top 5. Right after that, we got Cult of Chucky. This is the film where they introduced the splitting of the souls, the multiple dolls, just a bunch of other shit we've never seen in the Child's Play franchise before. And I'm not gonna say I didn't fuck with it, but it caught me out the blue and it's a little random if I'm being honest with you. Right after that, we got Child's Play 2. This is a very good sequel to a very good first movie. And the third act of this movie is, in my opinion, the best third act out of any of the Child's Play movies. Breaking into the top 3, we've got Curse of Chucky. This is where the franchise said, fuck it, we're done with the comedy shit. We're going back to our fucking roots. And that's exactly what they fucking did. Chucky is back on his demon time, and you feel me? He's catching fucking bodies again. And Nika, I don't care what anybody says, Nika is a top 5 final girl of all time. And if you haven't seen the Chucky series, please don't try to argue that shit with me, because trust me, if you watch them first 2 seasons, you'll look at Nika and be like, damn, she might fuck around and just be a top 3 final girl. I don't know. Coming in at number 2, we've got Bride of Chucky. Now, I already know a bunch of people are gonna try to disagree with me and shit, but I don't care. This movie, it's fucking fun, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and let you tell me that a movie where Chucky and Tiffany catch stupid fucking bodies, blow up a fucking cop car, frame a fucking teenage couple for a bunch of murders, you're not gonna sit here and tell me that shit is bad. And last but not least, we've got Child's Play from 1988. Honestly, I don't gotta explain shit. This movie did things for the fucking horror genre. This shit did things for the fucking killer doll genre, if that was even a fucking genre in the first place. Anyways, that's my official ranking of the Child's Play franchise. If you guys want me to rank any other horror movie franchise, just let me know. Come on, you guys already know. If you comment some shit 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do it.
Not gonna lie, I never really watched the Chucky movies like that, but by the way how he described it, I would say 10 out of 10 too. I say that is the perfect ranking.
Part 2 on what happened to 12-year-old Florencia Di Marco and how she told people she was being abused, but nothing was done about it. The police look at the surveillance footage and they see a man that looks exactly like Lucas throwing the backpack into the field. They're so confused by this, so they go ask some of the neighbors, and the neighbors say that yes, they also saw a man that looked just like Lucas walking around the area. They start digging deeper into this, and they go to Florencia's school to look at the surveillance footage from the day that she went missing. Because remember, Lucas says that morning he dropped Florencia off at 8 o'clock. So they look at the footage, and that's when they realize that Lucas was lying. The footage shows Lucas in his van just driving by the school. He never stopped, he never parked, he never dropped off Florencia. She never got out of the car. Investigators start speaking to the teachers and the administrators of the school, and they all confirm that Florencia never made it to class that morning. So once again, Lucas was caught in another lie. And the day after police found this footage, 12-year-old Florencia Di Marco was finally found. But unfortunately, it was not in the way that everyone had hoped for. And just a trigger warning, what I'm going to say next is disturbing. Florencia's body was discovered under a bridge by fishermen and neighbors in a grassy area in San Luis, about 35 miles away from her home. She was found naked from the waist down, her hands were tied, and she was covered in bruises. The neighbors and the fishermen said that they aren't even medical professionals, but by the look of Florencia's body, they could tell that she had been severely essayed. The medical examiner concluded that Florencia was severely R-worded before her death, and that this wasn't the first time that this had happened. She actually had bruises and injuries and marks on her body from years ago, which meant that Florencia was being essayed for years. She also had defensive explosive wounds on her, so that meant that she fought back whoever attacked and killed her. As for her cause of death, the medical examiner concluded that she was strangled to death by a lasso. What's weird is that when police found her backpack, the dictionary had the word lasso highlighted, which makes them believe that maybe she had been threatened to be killed by a lasso beforehand and that she had opened up the dictionary to see what it meant. She also had the word prostitution, stick, and brother-in-law highlighted. So what did all of this mean? 3 days after Florencia's body was found, her stepfather Lucas was arrested. He was charged with essaying her, and he was also charged with her murder. Now he claims that he was completely innocent, that he never abused her, and that he didn't kill her. Now, as for the mother, Karina says that she had no idea that any of this was happening to her daughter. However, a couple of teachers and friends of the family have come out and said that that wasn't true. Some teachers from Florencia's elementary school said that one time Florencia told them, "My father caresses me." They thought this was weird, so they reported it to Karina, and Karina said, "Oh, my daughter is lying." And the school just didn't do anything else about it. They just kind of took Karina's word and they didn't report it to the police, nothing. Florencia also told one of her teachers that her stepfather would come into her room at night and grope her. Karina knew about this, but once again, nothing was done about it. Even the teachers, I feel like they should have just called the police and ignored what Karina was saying and figured out if this was actually true or not. Karina was later arrested for letting the abuse happen, and she was sentenced to 18 years. As for Lucas, he actually took his own life while in prison, and he left a letter behind saying that he had found Florencia dead in her room and that he freaked out, and that's why he decided to throw her body over the bridge. But no one believes him. It breaks my heart that Florencia asked for help but didn't get it.
Bro, that dude is lying for what? You could tell he's lying. He's like, "Oh, I just found her body in the room. Instead of calling the cops or telling the mom, I just took her body and threw it in the lake." No one's dumb, bro. Come on now. That's messed up. That has to be one of the craziest stories I heard all day too, bro. Nah, R.I.P. her, bro. May her soul rest in peace.
Morbid Facts, Part 108. In 1959, a white journalist named John Howard Griffin disguised himself as a black man and traveled through the Deep South for 6 weeks. After writing a book about his experiences with racism, he was forced to move to Mexico for several years due to the constant barrage of death threats. Here's a clip of Admiral Jeremiah Denton blinking the word torture in Morse code while he was being held captive in the Vietnam War. He was being interviewed for Vietnamese propaganda, but U.S. intelligence was able to decipher his message.
Wow.
In 1951, New Zealand author Janet Frame was diagnosed with schizophrenia and scheduled for a lobotomy. But just days before the operation, she won New Zealand's most prestigious literary award, prompting doctors to cancel the operation that would have mashed her brain. After the 1947 murder of Elizabeth Short, aka Black Dahlia, reporters told her mother that Elizabeth had won a beauty contest. Once they pried enough information from her for their story, they informed her that...
Ever wondered where your hard-earned tax money goes? Brace yourself, because the shocking truth will leave you speechless. It turns out that the only purpose of your tax dollars is to make the rich even richer. But wait, there's more. In the United States, there's no government-funded unemployment or retirement fund, and proper health care seems like a distant dream. So where does all that money collected by the government each year actually go? Prepare to be stunned. A significant portion is used in financing wars, not just in Ukraine, but also in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. But why? What's the United States' motive for engaging in these conflicts? It's all about gaining resources, asserting dominance, and avoiding potential conflicts. The United States spends a massive chunk of its tax revenue on military activities abroad. The U.S. Army has well over 6,500 tanks, each costing on average $5 million. That's a mind-blowing $32 billion spent solely on tanks. Now, can you even imagine the astronomical costs of military planes and boats?
Yep, typical US, using our taxpayer money to just fund wars. Let's go, just more wars, yeah. In my opinion, I think we should put our money into things that can expand technology and make the world a better place for everyone. Ding, Fittie for president.
Have you heard of the Denver Airport conspiracy? When the Denver International Airport was constructed to replace Stapleton Airport, questions arose as to why a replacement was necessary. Consequently, numerous conspiracy theories emerged, suggesting that the airport is under the control of powerful entities such as the Freemasons, the New World Order, or even the Illuminati. Interestingly, the construction took way longer than expected, with a delay of 16 months and an additional cost of $2 billion. A construction worker claimed that this was due to the construction of 5 levels and a network of underground tunnels beneath the airport. Now let's dive into some weird aspects of the airport. For instance, the airport has a multi-million-dollar underground baggage transportation system that was never used. Was it just a cover-up for the true use of those funds? The airport also features an underground level labeled as Level 3 in the elevators. What mysteries might lie on the other levels? Subscribe for Part 2. Things are about to become even more...
Honestly, I wouldn't doubt if they have other layers of buildings under an airport, bro. What do you think? Do you think that's true? Put it down in the comments.
Here's how they made the razor box from Saw 2. The way that the trap works is you have this woman and she's trying to get the antidote from inside the box. And she thinks the easiest way to do this is to stick her hands through these holes right here. But she doesn't realize that there are razor blades that once she puts her arm through, the only way that she can get her arm out is by pulling it down, and it's just cutting into her skin, leaving both of her wrists trapped in the box bleeding. From the special effects side, this is pretty simple. Obviously, the razors are not real razors. The actress is just pulling her wrists down against a rubber piece. However, they did actually have the issue of how is she going to actually pull her wrists out of the box. The props department came up with this clever contraption. You see they have these little cups down here that they can actually push up into the box. Pushing this cup up makes all of the razors sit against the sides and she can freely pull her wrist back down. Also, once they started pumping in the fake blood, they realized that it left this really cool red sheen across the actress's face. This was not pre-planned, they just realized it as they were building the trap, and it just made for really iconic shots in this movie.
It's actually pretty cool. I saw Saw X the other day. It was amazing. I don't know, I really liked the movie. So if you want a movie to watch the new Saw movie. It was pretty good.
Of course I can spoil Piggy for you. The ultimate question is, would you save your bully's life if you had the chance? The movie starts off with a girl named Sarah who is nicknamed Piggy by her bullies.
Damn.
She works at her family-owned meat shop. Her bullies decide to visit her and buy some meat. One of the bullies named Claudia used to be Sarah's ex-best friend, by the way. The bullies take a photo of Sarah and her family, posting it with the hashtag #the3littlepigs. Sarah then decides to take a swim in the public pool by herself, but then a strange man emerges out of the pool out of nowhere. The bullies unexpectedly show up and make a joke that that's Sarah's boyfriend, and then torment her with a swimming pool net, forcing her underwater and almost unaliving her. While Sarah's underwater, the scene shows that there's an unalived body at the bottom of the pool that she doesn't notice. The strange man leaves the pool, followed by the bullies who steal Sarah's backpack and clothes. Sarah has to walk home in her bathing suit and is tormented by some boys on the way home. Then she sees the same strange man in a white van with one of her bullies, Claudia, in it, screaming for help that she's been kidnapped. But Sarah basically goes, "Y'all be safe, I'm leaving," while making intense, intimate eye contact with the kidnapper. Like, yes, daddy, kidnap my bullies. Sarah returns home and doesn't tell anyone about what she saw, all while her mom just walks in on her having a shower because she doesn't respect her privacy. The police in the town finally discover that the pool's lifeguard has been found unalived and the 3 girls have gone missing. But Sarah just denies everything and says that she wasn't even at the pool that day. Her mom knows she's lying though. Sarah finally remembers that the bullies took her phone, and then she can probably track where the bullies are if she can find her phone. She successfully tracks her phone and backpack down while in the forest, but encounters the kidnapper hiding there. He warns Sarah to be quiet, and then they kind of have a cute little moment before he leaves because he's a kidnapper on the run, and he doesn't even try to kidnap her. So thoughtful. That night, Sarah plays DJ with herself, and she thinks of the kidnapper's face the whole time. She's down bad. At this point, the parents of the 3 bullies who have gone missing are going searching for their children, and they end up discovering a body of a missing waitress. As Sarah returns home, she runs into Pedro, a friend of the missing girls who's also kind of cool with her. They indulge on the devil's lettuce together before he tells Sarah that he knows that she was at the pool that day, because the bullies had sent a video in the group chat of them tormenting Sarah. He tells Sarah that the townspeople think that he's the one who's responsible for their disappearance, and that Sarah needs to come clean to the police about what she saw. While Sarah wasn't home, the kidnapper came to Sarah's house and attacked her father. Sarah comes home to her mom, who still doesn't know that the kidnapper was there. The kidnapper attacks her mom before forcing Sarah to come with him in his white van. He takes her to a warehouse where Sarah finds 2 of the bullies restrained at the top of the ceiling. While the kidnapper isn't in the room, Sarah tries to save them, and this girl still calls Sarah an idiot. The audacity. Sarah isn't able to free them on time before the kidnapper comes back in the room, and she also sees the 3rd girl's unalived body on the ground. The kidnapper tries to manipulate Sarah into unaliving the other 2 bullies before Sarah attacks him. Out of self-defense, his weapon accidentally goes off, and Claudia's hand becomes obliterated. Sarah lunges at the kidnapper and takes a big chomp out of his neck and unalives him.
Wow.
She picks up the weapon weapon, pointing it at the two girls. It fires and there's a moment of silence before we see what happens. Turns out she aimed at the chains that were restraining them on their hands, freeing them. Sarah leaves and begins walking away before encountering Pedro, who gives her a—
Oh, that movie sounds crazy, yo. That was pretty good. But that's crazy though. She tried to save that one girl. That one girl started calling her an idiot. I'd have been like, you know what, bitch? You could die. You could just die.
Morbid Facts, Part 364. When Theo Von was born in 1980, his dad Roland was 70 years old.
Wow.
Theo says he was always afraid to develop a relationship with Roland because he knew his dad would die when he was at a young age. His father ended up dying in an accidental shooting accident when Theo was 16 years old. British man Andrew Haig was sentenced to life in prison earlier this year after beating his 50-year-old neighbor to death with a bag of Pokemon cards. The two had gotten into an argument after Haig's neighbor accused him of being a pedophile. In 2012, Texas nurse Kimberly Sains was sentenced to life in prison after killing 5 of her patients by injecting bleach into their dialysis lines. Here are some of the distress calls that were painted onto houses during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Many refused to evacuate their homes because they weren't allowed to bring any pets into sheltering areas. The Category 5 hurricane ended up taking the lives of around 1,400 people and 500,000 pets.
Think of the worst possible way to die, and this beats it.
Oof. Okay, what is it?
This man was running from the cops, and he ended up at this grocery store, climbed up on the roof, and they had helicopters, tons of cops all around, and they were looking for him, right? Could not find him. And they're like, where'd he go? He disappeared.
Right.
And so they just like called off the search or whatever, right? And a few days later, there's people complaining of this weird smell, like near the entrance of the grocery store, and they thought it was like leaky pipes or something, right? So they got a plumber to come in, and they broke down some of the wall on one of the main pillars.
Yeah.
And they saw a shoe and a leg.
No.
And what had happened is he had gotten up and he had climbed through some opening, and then I guess
like now he's in the roof.
Yeah, so he got into the roof, and then I guess he made his way down that pillar that way to like hide from the cops, obviously.
Yeah.
And he just got stuck. They said they found him like with one arm above him, and he couldn't get out.
Bro.
Like imagine just being stuck in there and you can't move. You're slowly dehydrated, hungry, and you're just—
That's like glitching in a video game. Like, you ever had those games where you fell through the map, where you just glitch into a building and you're just stuck? Yeah, nah, that should be a horrible way to die, bro.
There's been an absolutely horrific murder this week that was live streamed on Instagram.
Damn.
This case is extremely disturbing, so please be warned before watching. On Friday, 12,000 people watched a Bosnian bodybuilder kill his wife on Instagram Live. 35-year-old Nermin had been abusing his wife during their marriage, and the pair had a young child. On Friday morning, he took to Instagram Live to tell his followers that they could witness a live killing. Absolutely horrifically, he turns the camera to his ex, whose face is completely covered in blood and disfigured. He calls her a derogatory name and blames her for her own death because she reported him to police. Disturbingly, you can hear the child crying in the background. He then tells his followers that he's the child's father and his ex had hidden the toddler from him for over a week and reported him to police for DV. So, in my opinion, yes, she's taking steps to keep her and her child safe from you. After shooting his wife in the head on Instagram, he then goads his followers saying, "Someone come and save the child." A police chase then began and he went on a shooting rampage. He continued to film and tells his viewers that he's killed 2 other people who actually turned out to be an innocent man and his young son. He also wounded a police officer, another man and a woman while on the run. He ended up unaliving himself.
That's messed up. Now the kid has no dad, no mom, no younger brother. Like, wow, bro. Did all that for what? R.I.P. those victims.
This man tortured people in unspeakable ways, all because of a dark secret. Let's talk about Alexander of Brennenburg from Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Disturbing content ahead. Alexander is the Baron of the castle that the game takes place in. However, he's much more than just a nobleman. Alexander is actually an otherworldly being that is centuries old. He was banished from the otherworld to Earth, and he's been trying to find a way home for hundreds of years. That's where the torture comes in. This is Vitae, and it's what Alexander hoped to use to return home. Humans secrete Vitae into their bloodstream during extreme amounts of pain, suffering, and fear. So for hundreds of years, Alexander would bring people to his castle, torture them and extract their vitae. However, it didn't stop there, as remember, the name of the game is amnesia. Eventually, after enough time, humans get used to things like pain and fear. So in order to keep torturing people and extracting vitae, he would give them an amnesia serum. That way they could experience all of that pain and fear again for the first time.
Is that actually real? Do humans actually like extract that, or is that just like a game? Because I'm not sure what he said, but like if that's real and someone actually did that, that's crazy, bro.
There's 5 signs that a horror movie might suck. I saw Straw Hat do something similar to this, and I figured, hey, why not add my little 2 cents? The first sign that a horror movie might be dog shit is when the trailer is too long. Granted, this could go for any movie, but we're just talking about horror movies right now. Even though this can go for any movie, I feel like this goes more so for horror movies, mainly due to the fact that horror movies have to have some sense of mystery and the unknown in order for it to work right. There's no reason why a horror movie trailer should be any longer than 2.5 minutes. And even that's kind of pushing it. But when the trailer feels like they tell you the entire movie and the trailer is like they're trying to convince you to watch it, it's probably trash. Here's another one, based on true events. Listen, 9 times out of 10, if they say it's based on true events, it's cap. Don't even believe it. The last based on true events horror movie that was good, in my opinion, was probably The Conjuring 2 from 2016. But yeah, saying that it was based on true events is just a cop-out to try to make the movie seem scarier than what it really is. Oh, here's one. Adding important jump scares in the trailer. Why would you ruin what's probably the best scare of the entire movie in the trailer? So when we actually go see the movie and the scare happens, it doesn't even have the same effect. One perfect example of a movie that did this would be Smile. However, I really like Smile, and Smile was like my favorite horror movie of last year, next to like Terrifier 2, but they really pissed me off when they did that, because watching the movie, watching this jump scare would have been so much better had I not known it was coming. Now, this one is kind of debatable, but some people would argue that if the horror movie is PG-13, it's probably gonna suck. Let the record show that the movie that scared me the most was The Grudge in 2004, and that movie was PG-13. If the subgenre of the horror movie that's coming out does not call for blood and gore, then it being PG-13 really ain't that big of a problem. Now, you dropping a demonic possession movie, a slasher movie, or something like that, and it's PG-13, when the marketing kind of meat rides the director or the producer's other projects a little too much. Like, you forcing this whole from the studio that brought you Insidious a little too much, I'm gonna start to get a little weary of you, bro. Because what that sounds like to me is, oh, that movie was good, so this one must be good, right? No, not always the case. But yeah, there y'all go, man. There go some signs that a horror movie might be trash. Please take some of these with a grain of salt because they don't apply to every single movie. However, based on the general consensus of films, it's pretty accurate. And y'all comment below if there's some other signs that you know of that I didn't mention.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm the type of person to see PG-13 and be like, all right, that horror movie is definitely garbage. I'm not gonna lie.
Something very strange happened to TikToker by the name of Alfred, not Alfredo. Before going to sleep, he noticed something very strange on his wall. He's able to see images upside down of his neighbors. A whole projection of his neighbor's house on his wall. Let's check out the video and let me know what you guys think. Pay close attention.
Okay, so I noticed this right here and I was like, why does this look like bushes? And then I realized, I thought this was just like the curtains, the little curtain square right there. And then I was like, you could see the cars drive by. And I just figured it was just lights. And then I just happened to turn the camera upside down and I realized that's my neighbor's house.
Wow.
That's their car. This is the sky.
Wow.
You can see the cars. Let's see if a car drives by.
That's trippy.
That's John walking across. You can see his pants. Like it's in color.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really crazy. Wow. That's like a glitch in the Matrix.
The book held secrets so unsettling it was erased from history. Uncover the truth in the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch might just be telling the truth. We've always been told that it was removed from the biblical canon around the 4th century because it didn't conform with other sacred texts. But have we ever considered the other possibility? What if its removal wasn't due to inconsistencies, but rather because it held a too disturbing truth about human history that the religious authorities of the time didn't want to reveal? The Book of Enoch tells an unsettling tale of rebellious angels, known as the Watchers, who defied God. They not only taught humans forbidden knowledge like astrology and the crafting of devastating weapons, but took it a step further by committing the sinful act of copulating with human women. From these unholy unions, the Nephilim were born, creatures that were half angel, half human. Many skeptics dismiss the book as a mere fabrication, but if we carefully examine the world around us, the position of the sun and moon in the sky, and even the current distribution of guardian angels according to certain beliefs, we might wonder if the Book of Enoch is closer to reality than we think.
Scariest facts you didn't know, part 213. The world's most widely documented demonic possession that landed in the 1936 issue of Time magazine is that of Emma Schmidt, also known by her pseudonym Anna Ackland. Schmidt was an American woman born March 23, 1882, in Switzerland and raised in a Catholic household in Marathon, Wisconsin. When she turned 14, she began taking to unspeakable sexual acts and speech and became averse to everything blessed or religious, including churches. In 1935, it was revealed that her Aunt Minna, a purported witch and lover of her father, Jacob, had cast a spell on her through the food she prepared for the young girl.
Damn.
At the age of 30, Schmidt was exorcised for the first time by a Capuchin priest named Friar Theophilus Riesinger.
What I'm trying to figure out is how do they know that someone put a spell into her food? Like, they're like, yeah, when she was 14, she had food with a spell in it, and then she got possessed. Like, how do they know that?
It was not a presidential tweet, but a text that lit up cell phones and social media today. It was the first test of the National Wireless Presidential Emergency Alert System. It was only a test.
Today's alert actually was a test of an alert that would be sent by the president to give advance warning of a national crisis like a terror attack or a missile about to hit the United States. It's similar to the local Amber and weather alerts sent to mobile phones. Planning for the alert system began in 2006. Officials say if you do ever see a real presidential alert, pay attention. FEMA's Antoine Johnson.
Take those things very seriously when they come across your mobile device or it appears on radio and television. They're not the type of alerts that should be ignored at any time.
Well, FEMA said today the test was successful. Phone carriers, including T-Mobile, told us it may have taken up to 30 minutes for alerts to go through, but T-Mobile said it had no problems outside of that. Now, Jeff, if you were on an active phone call at the time of the alert, you might not have gotten it, but otherwise you cannot opt out.
Yeah, I got that today. I was like, what the? I was driving right next to a cop. I was like, what the? And I was like, oh, it was just a test. Like, I wasn't up to date. I thought we're getting like nuked or something. I was like, what? I've never gotten this on my phone. I've seen it on TVs, but my phone? But anyways, if you like the video, please like the video. Remember that these chains are free for limited time only, so check the link down below. Like goal for this video is 1,000 likes. Love you.